So let's see how to prepare a EXSI host to a NSX Fabric, or add a EXSI host to a NSX Fabric, right? So this is a entirely new setup for me, so we'll do it from scratch, right? So you have to do a couple of things before adding a NSX EXSI host to NSX manager, right? So you first need to go to networking, and in the networking tab you can see different option. Go to the IP management and create a DHCP pool, or you can even use DNS for that, right? But for me, I'm using a DHCP pool, and I'll just mention it as my meetup IP pool. And I need to set the subnet that I'm going to use for this meetup. Add subnet. Two option. I can either use IP block or IP range. So I'm using IP range, and I just need to mention the range that I'm going to use, right? So I'm going to use on 192 range, and just add items. You click here, then mention the CDR that you're going to use 160.0.0.0/24, and also mention the gateway that you're going to use, right? 192.168.0.254 is my gateway. Just add it, click apply. So you can see that one subnet is added here. Then you can save it, and once you save it, the status should show as success here. Yeah, and you can see now the status is success. So then you can go back to the system tab and also create a profile, right? So profile, you have default profiles here. You can use either that. I don't like to use default, so I will just create a new profile. So let's say link profile, right? This is basically if you are going to have your uplink as a part of a port channel, uh, or what themings basically you want to define here. So you basically define your the uplinks here. So I just have one uplink here, so I just give it uplink 1, and this is just a variable. This is not the exact mapping of uplink here, but you just give a variable here and map it in the next session, right? So this is the uplink, and I'm not using any VLAN. There's no tagging for me, so I'll just give it enter. Then I will go back to nodes, and in the nodes I can see that there has been 3 nodes a part of this vSender, but no host has been added to the NSX Fabric, right? For adding the host to the NSX Fabric, you can select one node that you want to add, configure NSX for that node, and you need to add different parameters, right? So in this uh, version, that's NSX 3 and vSender 7, you have an option of using the existing VDS or creating the new NVDS, right? So if I go back to my vSender, you can see that I have a distributed switch which is prod DS. So I have different VNIC already attached to this prod, or the physical NICs as a part of this prod DS distribution switch. So I can just reuse that. So if I click here, since this vCenter is already part of the NSX-T manager, I can see the prod distributed switch that I created here. So I just selected that. Then I will use the transport zones, right? So transport zones are basically the two types. There's overlay transport zone and VLAN transport zone. We will talk that in a separately in a theory session. So whatever you want to communicate between the VTEPs, you use as an overlay. And if you have, let's say, one VLAN that you don't want to participate in the overlay network and just have the gateway in your traditional network, you can use NSX-T VLAN transport zone, not the overlay transport zone, right? So overlay is always from VTEP to VTEP. Then you already have created a uplink profiles. Then you select that. I think there's some or I can create a new uplink profiles also. Let's say that I'm creating it link 1 I2 for an example, and I'm just going to add, give a variable here. I can give same variable here, link 1, and just add it, and also give a IP address, right, for the VTAP. So I already have created a IP pool for this, so I can select that, or now I can enter the static or UC DHCP. But I already created an IP pool, and I believe the name was VTAP. Yeah, VTAP IP, right? And I just need to select the uplink 1 interface that I already created, right? So then I just need to click finish. So you can see that now this host will be prepared for the NSX-T. So it will take a couple of minutes for this host to completely configure the NSX-T, and you can see that in the vCenter that this prod switch will be now part of NSX-T prod switch, right? So let's give it a couple of minutes, then you will see that this host will be part of NSX-T. So I'll pause this video, and once it is finished, I will again show you.